Welcome, Chris Evans Radio. We have little Dave here, and we are adequately fired up. I think we talked for like 35 minutes. Not really. It was like 15. Um, just about the topic. And, I just want to jump right into it, honestly, because it's so fresh on our minds. Like, I'm going to answer this question. I told him I want to put this fucking baby to bed. Like, the amount of people that have reached out to me in the last 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years and said, Chris, what are you giving him that you aren't giving anyone else? Like, what's the secret? What's the mystery? What's the supplement? Like, what are you doing? And the answer is fucking nothing. He's been listening since the first program I sent him on January 1st of 2017. And it's as simple as that. So that's how I want to start this podcast, like just straight direct to the face. There's nothing that I give him that's any different from anyone else at his level, at his time, of how long he has in terms of his experience with bodybuilding and with me. Because at the end of the day, like when I write a client program, I build it based upon your goals, your needs, where you are at, and then what you can take mentally and physically. Because at the end of the day, like I could write the perfect plan, but if you can't follow it, it's a shitty plan. And that's all I've ever done for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the fucking truth. And then each plan after the first one is just solely based on the feedback he gives me. And there's, I think you've said it before, like we always joke around, like, I don't predict the future, you don't predict the future. You have no expectation. I have no expectation. You literally present the facts to me. I ask you questions. You give me the answers, and then I build the plan according to what you say, and then what I see with my eyes, and know now based upon the data I've seen over the last going on 7 years. Would you say your experience is exactly what I said?
100%. It's like just like this morning, I checked in. I lost almost 2 pounds, 1.8 pounds.
Yep.
Looked better in pictures. It's like, all right, cool. We got some food. It's like, you asked me where I get at. I was like, basically anywhere.
Yep.
Hunger's really good right now. So we did it.
It's as simple as that. I said to you, I don't want to get in your way of this progress. Your scale weight's down. What's your digestion like? Can we add food? And if so, where? Literally, those are my questions. And you said, my digestion's flawless. We can add it wherever you want. I'm open to suggestions. Cool. Done. I literally go in your plan. I pull it up. I add food. You say, cool. Now you apply that starting today because I know you. Even if your meals are already made, you'll add them. It's not a big deal. And then we progress. It's literally as simple as that. And I have literally done that since day one with you. The only difference, here's the difference. You fucking follow it. If it's not working, you tell me. And then guess what? I'm not a dumb meathead and just say, deal with it. I say, okay, cool. Tell me what's going on, what's happening. And then I literally problem solve it to the best of my ability. We try it. If it works, great. If not, we go back to the drawing board and I fix it. We continue to try things until I find what works. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not some fucking.
And also in there, one thing, what on my side, I'm telling you things what aren't working, not because of discomfort.
Yes.
I have zero problem being uncomfortable, right? There's been definitely times where my food's been high, and I'm sick of fucking food. You probably get that, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I need to lower my food. Or on the other side, there's times where we've had to push my body weight up. Yep. I fucking hate being above some certain body fat percentages. I hate it. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a necessary evil.
Yep.
I'll fucking do it. Yep. It is what it is. I'm not gonna be like, oh, we need to have a mini cut because I can't see my glute striations. Right. Yep. I'm not gonna fight the plan. If the goal's off season, our goal is to get bigger and stronger.
Right.
My goal is, if it's off season, my goal is not to be, peeled. It's to get really fucking strong and progress with weights in the gym.
Yep.
And then when we flip gears, my job is to maintain those weights in the gym and get peeled. So if that means if I'm eating fish and air 6 times a day, that is what it is. That's not always the case. But
it has been, but not always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think two, and you touched on a lot of great fucking points there, right? Of like, number one is not being uncomfortable, and sometimes you just realize you got to eat fucking shit, right? Like, it's not a choice. Like, we have to get your body weight up if you want to get to the next weight class, if you want to get to the next level of size. And I realize that I have to do, there's a push and pull there too, right? Like, I got to push your food so high, but not to the point where I fuck your digestion. And then if we start doing that, guess what? We'll take a fast or we'll pull food back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a give and take because I know that in the day, like, you have a lot more growing left. Like, we all do for the most part. I've yet to work with someone who doesn't need more tissue somewhere. And so many struggle with that shit. Like, the plain compliance, even though it's not fitting their perfect little life, right? Like, you aren't trying to win the Instagram most lean in the off season, you know? And there's a lot of people that chase that shit. And I've said to you before, man, there's going to be all seasons that aren't pretty. But those all seasons that aren't pretty lead to jumping of weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
And so many are scared to do that. Next, in my mind, like, at the end of the day, as you said, your job is to get stronger and bigger or maintain strength and then fucking get peeled. It's as easy as that. You've never wavered and been outside of that realm. You've never said, hey, Chris, like, maybe we should go back to classic. Hey, Chris, maybe we should try men's physique. It's always been, I'm going to be the biggest fucking nastiest bodybuilder after your first show season with me. And I said, cool. And we have two phases: get fucking huge or get peeled. It's not this weird, like, in between shit that most of you guys try to ride. It's not. Now, as you've gotten bigger and better, you've been able to stay leaner in the off season, but that's because you have more lean muscle tissue.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning, we couldn't do that. It just, you didn't have enough muscle yet to sustain that level of like metabolic rate to where you're burning through all the food I feed you.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're beginning to learn to train harder and smarter, you're able to push yourself harder in the gym, which in turn will burn more body fat, something that most people don't consider, right? Because I don't care what anybody says, the Stairmaster works, but that set of leg press you just did that you posted on Instagram, that burns more fat than the Stairmaster. And
Oh, 100%.
I will die on that fucking hill. I don't care what science study shows me. Your body burned fat like a motherfucker the rest of that night. Did it put on tissue? Yes. But I believe in my heart, it's impossible to get fat if you're eating diet food and training like that.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about it, but that's the truth. And when I say fat, I'm saying over 12% body fat, which, if you're in the bodybuilding world as a dude, like, no one should ever be over that, in my opinion, once you're an experienced competitor.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine even trying to get above that with just, I mean, like, it's when dudes throw in what they're like, oh, I need to eat a dozen donuts and chocolate milk post lifts because some teenager is doing that right now on Instagram. Yep. It's like, cool, eat your fucking, llama cereal and whey protein. Cool, that's an easy post-workout meal. That's rice and whey protein. Cool. It's a little bit different than processed trans fats and just flour,
Yes.
And then chicken and rice, like, good luck.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, I would love to see someone eat 12 ounces of chicken breast and 500 grams of white rice, and eat that enough times a day to actually put on body fat. You'd give up before you did that.
Oh, hell yeah. Your stomach would literally be so distended that it would hurt. Like, you just, I really have yet to meet someone who could eat that much chicken, rice, and let's say some vegetables, or even if you were putting a tablespoon of oil on every meal, a good quality oil, I don't believe you're going to get fat with that. Like, and if so, you have really fucked up hormone profiles.
Yeah.
That you need to go see a doctor about.
Yeah. March your ass straight down to the doctor, order your thyroid panel, your free testosterone levels, and get your estrogen checks.
Yes.
And then the second step you should do is take a video of your training footage and assess if you're training like a pussy.
Yes.
Because if you got fat from doing those, if it's not your lab work, it's that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Probably wasn't chicken and rice, or you're lying to yourself about what you're eating.
Because I think I think here's the problem too, right? You have a lot of guys, and I've worked with these competitors or just clients in general. They'll nail their first 5 meals because they're at work and they're on a schedule. The moment they get home and they sit in front of the TV with their wife, girlfriend by themselves, they think it's a green light to eat their fucking last meal and then just smash whatever. And unless you have a lightning fast fucking metabolism and you've never been a period of your life without seeing your abs, good luck. Because eventually that tub of Ben and Jerry's and chips and Taco Bell is going to catch up to you. Because there's only so much like GDA, there's only so much fucking insulin you can put with that. Or God, I've seen guys all try to offset that with fucking T3 and Clen. It doesn't work. Stop it. Just eat your meal and go to fucking sleep. Like, I don't know.
That's like honestly the biggest reason. Like, it's pretty funny. Like, we talk about meals, right? I can't think of the last time. Like, every goddamn time I leave my house and go to work, I leave my house with a cooler what has 5 meals in it.
Yep.
Right. And that's Monday through Saturday.
Yep.
That cooler, I'm leaving with that cooler, and it has basically all of my food in it for the day.
Right.
I legitimately I don't even have to think. I just go, am I cool? 10 o'clock, time for meal 2. It just happens. Like, it's not like I'm just like free balling the shit out of this. That comes back to preparation. Like, that one of the things that I tell myself I have to do is before I go to bed, I have to have, if I work, meals have to be put together or all set together. If I don't work the next day, right, I have to have chicken and rice in the fridge.
Correct. Yes.
I'm not going to wake up in the fucking morning and just be like, where's the food? It's not going to happen. Like, that's like a non-negotiable with me. I don't care if I'm staying up until 1 a.m. if I'm cooking.
Yes. Agreed.
It is what it is.
Yep. And what's interesting is, when you come into town, it's the same fucking shit. Like, I think the first time you came, you had a shitload of chicken pounds sent to my house, and I threw it in the fridge for you, in the freezer. Or the last time, I'm just like, hey, I'll take care of all the meat and rice. It's not a big deal. I have tons of cream of rice. Have at it. Because at the end of the day, like, as you said, my house is always going to be stocked with meat in the freezer and in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in case a fucking apocalypse happens, right? I'm all the times going to have 10 pounds of chicken frozen in the freezer. In the fridge is going to at least be 2 to 3, maybe 4 days worth of chicken at all times. I have 25-pound bag of rice in the cabinet. Put that on every morning for us. So when you get up, we always know there's rice. If we run out because you and I are eating the fuck out of it, guess what? We put another fucking pot of rice on.
Yep.
And if we don't have enough for that meal, I have tubes of rice cakes and enough cream of rice in the cabinet to feed an army. It's that fucking simple. Like, and I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize. And they think, oh, like, Chris is giving him, again, something special. What is it? No, it's just, you just listen, and you have evolved into a bodybuilder that doesn't need hand-holding. And so when I coach you, we don't waste time on stupid shit of compliance, of work ethic. I don't have to spend any effort with you doing one of those 2 things. Mm-hmm. So when you cross off, like, I don't have to worry about, oh, it's Christmas, Dave's going to eat off plan for a week. Oh, it's Thanksgiving, he's going to go blow his diet and not train hard. Like, I don't have to coach you with that. We solely focus on how to make you better every time, every update. It's literally that. And a lot of times that may just be what I've always said to you is just do another week of bodybuilding. And I know that might piss some people off when they get those in an update, but for you, that means you've done everything right. You checked every box. We just need more time doing this exact same endeavor, meaning the same foods, the same training plan, but more reps or more weight, and getting the same amount of rest and recovery.
Yeah. It's actually funny. Things I tell my clients, what I do myself, like, I think other than you changed my plan today, and when was the update before that was 11 something.
I can tell you, hold on. Right. I have it pulled up right here. It was 11-19.
Right,
So
11-19 to 1-3, right?
correct.
So month and a half. What is that?
6 weeks.
You know,
Yep.
yeah, 6 weeks. Basically, every 2 weeks myself, I'm gonna do like a mental test. I will make sure I'm looking at that plan and nailing every aspect of it, not just going from memory. Like I legitimately will have that as a screensaver that my meal plan on my phone, right? And I will just make sure it's not going to be like, oh, what's meal two? I think it's this. No, it's like I'm looking at that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to turn into because like what I see with so many people is they just get their meal plan doesn't change for that 6 weeks of time, but they changed it every fucking 2 days.
Yeah.
Themselves. Like obviously, if I run out of chicken, I'm going to use turkey, whatever.
Correct. Yeah.
That's not a big deal. But it's like cool. It's like somehow, when you don't do those audits, you just look at it and the plan doesn't change, but you change it because that's what happens. You're like, all of a sudden, you look back, you're like, meal 4 was supposed to be 6 ounces of chicken and 225 grams of rice and olive oil. And I somehow turned that into whey protein, cream of rice, and peanut butter. And it's 200 calories off.
Right.
And it's like, oh, whoops. You know what I mean? Like, cool, you were getting close. That's not what this game's honestly built on consistency. So if you're consistently eating the wrong fucking meal, you're not following the plan.
Right.
And I know I'm like you on this side. Like so many people will just like guesstimate a meal. They go eat out or whatever.
Right.
That's a free meal. That's not a meal on plan. I don't care if you went and if your meal plan says 8 ounces of steak and 8 ounces of potato, right? So you're like, oh, cool. That sounds like I can get that from Texas Roadhouse.
Right.
It is not the same fucking meal.
No. Agreed.
And then if you get it from Chipotle, it's definitely not the same fucking meal. Like, and so many people fall into that trap. And it's like, there's a reason why it's weighed and you're doing it. Because in all reality, like, I have 2 meals a day what are chicken, rice, and olive oil.
Yep.
That's this many ingredients. Like, think about that. Like, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why I'm not using processed peanut butter where it has 19 ingredients. And then, like, the carb source, I'm going to use some low carb tortillas, what somehow have 40 grams of fiber in there. So I can eat a lot of them.
Right.
Or some Franken food. And then you macro match that meal, but now from going from 3 ingredients to 180, correct. And you wonder why it digests differently.
Yes.
Yep. It's like, I wonder which one of these ingredients is bothering my gut. It's like, good luck figuring that out.
Right. And you touched on an easy thing there. And something I've always said, right? Like, I've always said consistency and progress comes from doing. Now, on the flip side of that, every day that you say, Outback meal for lunch with your coworkers, or Chipotle or Chick-fil-A, or, you're, as you said, eating some, like, let's say, for example, those, like mac and cheese things that kids eat. You're like, you know what? That's pretty damn close to my carbs and fat. I'm going to put my chicken in there. Every day that you do that, it becomes easier to do that tomorrow. And then suddenly getting back to that chicken, rice, and olive oil becomes way more challenging. It turns into, oh man, that's bland. It doesn't taste as good. Well, no shit. You're eating macaroni and fucking cheese.
Yeah.
Of course it doesn't taste as good. But at the same time, like, you wonder why you're walking around gassy and you have a distended stomach? Weird. I don't get it. Oh yeah, because you're eating powdered fucking cheese. Like, and God knows I couldn't even tell you the ingredient list of what they use to make that pasta in there. But that is one of the biggest things is, every time you throttle back with nutrition or training, it's easier to do that the next day. And that's something I can tell you, I know you do well. You do the opposite of that. It's how many days can I be perfect on this meal plan? And how many times or ways that I enter that gym can I find a way to get a little bit better and harder or make an exercise more challenging and then still beat the numbers?
Mhm.
That mindset can't be replaced. And something else as we're moving towards training, I've never once heard you say that you train hard. I'm telling you, you train hard, but you've never said that to me because, like me, there's still more levels, and we haven't truly found Everest yet.
Yeah.
Just haven't, and we may never. But each time we go in there, we're taking one step up that fucking mountain and finding ways to make this and this translate to more muscle tissue.
Yeah.
And I know it's cool to post on Instagram like I'm a lion, not a sheep, and no one outworks me, and I'm the hardest worker in the fucking room. Like that may look cool on paper, but that mindset to me will always lead to this. Cool. I'm at the peak, bro. You can't get better. It's very similar. Like I'm sure you've heard people say like, "Oh, I'm a 10 out of 10." Also, that means you can't get better. And the look on their face is like, "Oh fuck." Like I'm about to show you a 10 out of 10. Or for
Yeah.
you a 10 out of 10 in this moment. But no, your 10 is like a 6 for us. And that's really humbling to
Mhm.
teach someone. I just had a kid last week come up to me and was like, "Hey man, like I saw you doing that crazy stuff on YouTube for your hamstrings, and like I need them to grow like that. Can you lead me through my work set of leg curls?" And I was like, gladly, like, that fires me the fuck up. Like, I
Yeah.
want you to show me, like, lead me through it. He got off that leg curl and collapsed on the floor trying to go to the water fountain. And he was like, "I've never felt something like that." And I was like, yeah. I was like, now repeat that every freaking week, but move down that stack. That level of intensity that I just taught you of what it felt like to fail on that last partial of your leg curl, that's what you need every week. And how your legs feel this moment right now, not being able to stand on that floor, that should feel like every week from here on out, the rest of your fucking training life. And I hope that I changed this. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like, okay, cool. Like now, once you've reached that stack, how can we find a gym pin? Okay, put a gym pin. Now we start stacking weight on there. Excellent, cool. Like now we're used to doing 20 partials when we did 30 or 25 or with heavier weight. Like, you know, that's something that you possess that I don't think a lot of people in this current generation of lifting understand at all.
Yeah. Oh man. It's all, oh my goodness. We put so much, like, I'm probably gonna sound like a giant meathead by the saying this, but so many people are just leaving shit on the table because they're scared to add a little bit of motion or whatever. It's like, really good examples of lap, pull down, right? We get so many people who are like, this life slow, I'm just gonna engage my lat. And it's just like, you do realize like almost nothing in our body works by itself.
Right?
Like it doesn't move like that. Like it's fine, especially if you're trying to grow. Like, what's going to be the problem on hitting your lat? Maybe a little bit of your delt. I'm not saying have the absolute sloppiest form on the planet, but like so many people are like, oh, I hit a sticking point, and as soon as they hit a sticking point, they're just like done.
Right.
Versus like you might as well like see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And chances are that sticking point was just in your head, anyways.
Right. Yeah.
Because that concept of failure, like everybody trains the failure now, but no one knows what that is.
No.
Like we're all training to what we think failure is. How many times have like I know I've done it myself, but like how many times have you been in a squat or a leg press where you think it's not going to come back up, but it still does?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Or the things like that. It's like, oh, we went past that. And your body's really good at doing shit like that. You might be slightly fucked up from it, but like that's kind of the point,
Yep. Yep.
And it's just it's one of those things. just doesn't happen without trying.
You know, it's really interesting. Anytime that Chaz films, like he always wants to have an idea when it's just me and him, because he likes to like circle and get different angles through a work set. So like, how many think you're gonna get here? Like, or you know, like a rough, he wants a rough estimate, right? The amount of times I've said to him, 8 to 12, and I've done like 16. And
Yeah.
he always jokes. He always like, yeah, 12, huh? And like what's really cool is he's learned through filming me and watching me. And then when he films other people training, I mean, he always says training. Um, he's like, you'll be surprised like how many people stop short of what you consider normal versus when you go like next tilt. Like when you look at me and say, this one's gonna be fucking crazy, like just get out the fucking way. He's like, the amount of people that he's filmed are zero that have that other than you. And he's like, it's just that concept of, oh, I've hit 10. That was my goal on paper. It's the set is over.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I think that was one of your biggest takeaways, and maybe you knew this before the first time you trained with me. Is like the number doesn't is irrelevant to me. I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
not. I know some people are like, oh, I only want to end on even numbers or something cute, something super stupid, superstitious shit. I don't care. We just did 3 sets of 13. Okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
we may have done a 9, a 13, a 17, a 20, a 10, and a 6. All right, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That was our work sets. None of those are cute round numbers or make sense. But what did make sense is that was the final rep we could complete without you having to pull me out of the hole and do all the
Yeah.
work.
Oh, exactly. And I think that gets lost. It's just like, and then people say that they're like, they go into that and they're like, oh, well, you should have done this. And it's just like, it's working.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. I swear to God, like well, honestly, if you want to see the biggest scientific study ever done on bodybuilding, right, just walk into a fucking gym, pay
Yep.
attention to go find, just watch. You'll see a lot of people training. You'll see a lot of natural people. You'll see a lot of people on drugs, and it's just like, what ones have muscle, right? And what are they doing?
Yep.
Not many people who have a lot of muscle are just simply squeezing.
Yes.
And if they are, they're probably growing because of their genetics.
Right.
You can't just squeeze a muscle and hope it grows.
No.
You're doing that you're just basically just wasting your time at that point. I've seen people grow that way, but they grow without that way. And imagine if they trained like actually the way they were supposed to. They grow like crazy. But it's comical because like when people are training correctly when they keep growing when you take their drugs away.
Yes.
How many times have you seen people come? They're like, wow, this building muscle is so much harder when I'm not taking a gram of test, 400 milligrams of mastrone and 400 milligrams of tren. This building muscle process is really fucking difficult.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, I'm still doing it while I'm in a health phase. Why is it still working? My drugs are gone. Oh, and then we add them back in. It works better.
Correct.
Weird concept. I didn't change my training at all.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay, so you just transitioned into exactly where I wanted to go with this. We are in the current phase of you just making another huge jump. And I said this to you, I think, 1 or 2, maybe 3 updates ago, or maybe it was in a text message, I can't remember. This is another year of you having a perfect prep, going into a perfect rebound, having an off week, nailing a fucking health phase, and then now progressing into a blast for an all season. You lost 0 ground in any of that I just talked about. Didn't miss meals, didn't miss a beat training, and that's going through a fucking injury of your lower body. Your legs have actually gotten better. Like, I still don't understand how that works. Like,
I don't get it either.
I'm gonna question. I'm literally gonna, as I said to you, I'm just gonna stay out the fucking way with that. Occasionally, I'll be like, "Hey, have you thought about trying this for your legs?" And you're like, "Oh, I'll try it," and it fucking works. So, again, that's the little I'm gonna fuck with. But that process that I just laid out on paper sounds easy, right? Because I've had a lot of people who dominate a prep. I mean, I'm talking like what you and I would expect. But then the moment that show's over, it's a window of just like straight shit food eating, and you just lose fucking everything. Or you have people who dominate the show prep. They dominate the rebound because that's fun. Honestly, if you do the rebound right, the way I do it, it's fun. You grow every time you walk into the gym. Pretty much, it's what it feels.
Yeah.
Like. The off week they enjoy because like, oh man, like that was a hard prep, that was a great rebound. The moment they come back to that health phase and drugs are pulled out, they're like, this sucks. My motivation's down. I'm not huge anymore, which is fucking bullshit. It's all in their fucking brain. Like, I'm not strong as an ox. Why? What have we done? You're coming off an off week. You should feel fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So then and in my mind, like I've always thought about it this way. It isn't like you stop pinning test and it just stops working. Like I don't use test probe with any of you guys. So it isn't like, oh, you shot it Friday, it's not working Monday. You're gonna if you're on an F8 or SIP8, that shit's gonna run for at least 1 to 2, maybe 3 weeks. So you're still not natural. Natural. You still have it in your system. Take advantage of it. You can still eat. A lot of times I won't even touch your food. When you come back to the gym after that health phase, I was like, hey, like, let's ride that wave. As long as your digestion's there. Like, so what are we talking? We're talking about 6 weeks of
6-8 weeks.
Like, and
then you factor in like the how much gear is actually still in your system. It's more like it's gonna be like 5 weeks.
Correct. Yes.
And
it isn't like, listen, I blast and cruise most of my guys and girls for the most part, not always girls, but you're still not going to be in the toilet hormone wise, right?
Oh yeah, you're still going to be, if you're doing things right, you should be at in the 800s. Correct. And the thing that bothers me so much, it's just like, oh, I'm just on TRT, I can't make progress. It's like, you are aware, like you're in the upper echelon of where testosterone would be for a man. Like just because your levels aren't 5,000,
right?
Like you can't. Oh, cool, I'm at 800. It's like, dude, Jesus Christ, like, man, like it's like, what did you do when you were natty?
Right.
And I think that plays a role into it because, like, so many times, like in the back of my head, it's like, what would natural Dave do?
Right.
And like that's the thing. Like I've told this to countless people. It's just like, just train all the time like your drugs are fake.
Right.
It doesn't fucking matter. Train like they're fake, and if they work, they fucking work. But like, don't rely on them. That's the dumbest fucking thing on the planet. It doesn't make any sense. If you put a supercharger in your fucking car, right? You wouldn't stop putting premium gasoline in it.
Right.
You wouldn't just like neglect to change the tires, right? You wouldn't just like, you wouldn't leave bugs on the windshield.
Right.
Like, stop doing it with your diet. Like, if you're going to throw a supercharger, right? You're like, cool, we can go faster now. But then you don't change the fucking oil.
Right.
0 cents. It's like, oh, cool, I'm going to take trend so I don't have to diet as hard. Or I can get away with this, or I can get away with this. It's like, why are you trying to get away with things? See what happens if you do it the right way. Like I said, do it exactly as you said. If you just say all your drugs are fake, keep taking them, what would naturally you do? If you can't progress as a natural or in a health phase, you suck at bodybuilding. You need to assess everything else you're doing other than drugs and take a good look at that and be like, oh, this is where I'm fucking up.
Right.
And not even think about drugs. Right? If you can't nail your diet, I guess you should, right? Why the fuck are you taking, but you can nail taking your fucking trend, right? But you can't eat a fucking chicken breast?
Right.
You're fucking stabbing yourself with a needle, like Jesus Christ.
Right. Yep. I think, and you just nailed another point there, right? So many guys get in that health phase or cruise, and their diet and training gets exposed. right? Suddenly you don't have that cheat code, so to speak. You and I both don't know. We both know it's not a true cheat code like drugs aren't.
Mhm.
They are. It just isn't. It definitely makes things better, but I've always felt like it exposes the ones who aren't eating their meals, it exposes the ones who aren't going full tilt training, right? I just believe it. Like I've seen it time and time again. And I always wonder too, like how much of that is placebo? It's in their brain. Like up, they've already conceded loss of muscle, loss of strength, loss of fullness.
Yep.
But you haven't even taken your last shot of the blast, bro. Why are you already worried about that? Like, what if we just said, hey, we're gonna pull back a bit. Let's see how long we can ride just being big, full, and strong. And the next thing you know, the health phase is over, and you're like, man, I actually got a little bit better. Now, guess what? We go to the next level because we aren't picking up with a blast where we're having to rework the 6 to 8 weeks you lost during that health phase.
Mhm.
And that goes what I had jotted down for my next point for you is we never take steps backwards. It's not like, oh, health phase starts, cruise starts, we're going to regress, and then we wait to the next blast, and then we progress. That doesn't happen. It's literally progress, and then it might slow, but it's always trending up as a whole. I'm not saying we haven't had down periods of where we've had to maintain or didn't grow at the rate we maybe wanted to, or whatever over the course of these 7 years. But it's always, if you look at the chart of view, it's always trended this direction.
Mhm.
That's the key, and it's really hard, I think, for people to wrap their mind around that. Is as a whole, we've never had a huge setback, and it goes back to what I just talked about. We rotate that cycle around prep, rebound, health phase, off season, repeat over and over, and just keep running it back, finding ways to get better, finding ways that, oh, okay, this body part's now out of proportion. Let's pull it up. Let's add that as your 5th day of training. Awesome. We've just repeatedly done that. As your body grows, we take advantage of if it's all growing even. Listen, I've kept you at just steady state, 1 time a week, essentially training on repeat.
Mhm.
In this past North Americans, so guess what? We got to blow your fucking back out. Awesome. All right, we're gonna train back twice a week and we'll do something crazy. Nothing outside the ordinary. Still all the same shit that's always worked for your back because it isn't a weakness. We just got to blow it out. So
Yep.
guess what? Now we increase the frequency to twice a week. One approach is a little bit different than the first time. And then boom, guess what? Your back is steadily growing. Your update you sent me today, that front double bicep, that those lats are jumping out of your fucking armpits. Less than a year. You competed in September, the first week.
Mhm.
Why? Because you follow the fucking plan. I sat down, I looked at your photos. I said, okay, cool. Like, what do we need? We need this, this, and this for your back. All right, cool. If we need those things, how can I make a training plan that gives you those things? Because I know you're going to work your fucking dick off. Awesome. I write it, you do it. We don't sit down and say, oh, like every week this changes, or oh, we got to get really cute and try this time. But at the same time, like, I'm not scared to send you a set and be like, hey, try this in your back off set today. You just did that yesterday with the dumbbell row. I had an idea. I tried it. I fucking loved it. I sent it to you. I said, and you were like, I'm going to try this today. Perfect. What was the feedback? It was fucking great. You sent me the form. It was spot on for what I needed or what I wanted. Guess what? It worked. Like you still did your
Yeah.
top set. It was heavy as fuck. Your back off is really irrelevant as long as you're trashing the muscle, or at least that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm changing my training every single fucking week. Like it blows my goddamn mind how many people are like, oh, I'm taking this off season seriously. I'm gonna train with every single fucking person on the planet. And I'm gonna do their workout every time. It's like, no wonder you don't fucking progress.
Right.
You have 30 different workouts because you just trained with everybody in the fucking state.
Right. Right. And again, that stems from this Instagram culture, right? Like you'll be scrolling. It's like, oh, that dude has a great back. Let's see what he did. Okay, cool. I'm scrolling right. He did this, he did this, he did this. Awesome. All right, now I'm gonna apply that. I'm gonna do that on Tuesday. Great, perfect. Do it on Tuesday. If that fucking felt amazing and you got pumped, why would you change it? Why? Like, if
Yeah.
it was great and gave you everything you needed and you want what that dude has, why would you change it? Oh, because guess what? Tomorrow you're fucking here and you're like, oh, There's a Derek Lunsford back workout. That looks pretty awesome. He has the best back in bodybuilding. Let's do that. Okay, great. You do that. And then it's like, oh, that's the secret. Haney's got all those guys. That's got to be the secret. FST7s, this shit. You do it. It doesn't feel as good as what you did last Tuesday. And you stick with it because in your mind, you're like, oh, that works for him. Weird. He'd probably have a good back if he did 3 sets of pull-ups and walked away and never touched back again for the week. It's not you. Right?
Yep. Oh, and then also, I mean, like, if you can constantly change, like, yeah, I switch around to different gyms and I use different machines and they're slightly different angles. Cool. Like, that's actually a stimulus itself. But I'm doing the same motions repeatedly. I'm not changing my chest press from here to a fly.
Right.
For exercise one. It's this.
Yeah.
It's not this, right? So the concept's the same. And it's the same amount of work. Yes, it might be slightly different if I'm in a different gym or a different area. But I'm not changing my plan drastically. I'm not changing my, 7 sets of chest down to, I'm not jumping that around, and I'm not changing how that happens.
No.
Like, it's going to be the same bout. Yes, there's slight differences there, but it's not like I'm changing from 7 and the next week I'm doing 14. And then the week after that, I'm doing 3 because I'm fucked up from doing 14. And then, like, that's not happening. Or I'm not just changing exercises as I feel like it. I'm learning how to get better at the exercises you've given me.
Yep.
And it's a matter of that. It's like, that's what bodybuilding really is. It's not like, yes, you'll be like, oh, that's progressive overload. It's like, kind of. I'm progressively getting better at movements. Yes. I'm not just over here like grabbing my protractor, my logbook, and doing my calculator skills to make sure what the total volume load is changing every single day. It's I could go on a rant about overcomplicating bodybuilding for years. Right. But like, it's simple shit. Just follow the plan as best as you can, work as hard as you can, and eat your fucking food.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound like I'm absolutely shitting on like mountain dog programming, and it's not. If people saw how simplistic your workouts are that I wrote you, they couldn't comprehend how you gain that much muscle. Like, and it's the exact same that I write for myself. Meaning, I'm going to say, hey, I want you to start with a straight arm pull down for your back to warm up your lats. I don't give a fuck what attachment you use. Use the one you feel the most. Next, I want you to go on and I want you to pick a lat pull down that you love. Can be single arm, can be double arm, can be pull-ups. I don't give a fuck. Just do a vertical pull. Awesome. Do a top set and a back off. Get stronger at it each week. Cool. Next, guess what we're going to do? Some kind of free weight rowing. I don't care if it's Meadows row, one arm barbell row, dumbbell row, step forward row. I'm just don't even care if it's a machine row, to be honest with you. Just fucking pull something heavy with an arm, one arm. I don't care. Like, and if we progress that way, I'm like, oh, okay, 1 week we're gonna do RDLs, next week you're gonna do it chains, then we're gonna do a reverse hyper. And you're gonna rotate those in a 3-week cycle so your lower back doesn't get to beat the shit. It's like so simplistic, and it's kind of like choose your own adventure for the most part. But at the same time, you're still just trying to get better at it. Like, for example, and I'll give you guys another hard example to come up. When you come in to train legs, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be leg curls. It's going to be adductor. It's going to be 2 quad pressing, and then something fucking hard. On paper, that sounds easy as fuck. Good luck if you join us.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally as simple as that. We're going to leg curl. Well, Chris, what leg curl? I don't give a fuck. Do whatever one you love. Is it lying leg curls? Is it seated leg curls? Is it single leg curl? Is it a ham tractor? I don't care. What does your gym have, and what do you feel good? All right, do that until you can't get any stronger at it. Awesome. Adductor. What's special about it? Well, you want meat in the middle of your inner thighs. Do it until you need a gym pin, and then stack weight on that bitch. Well, Chris, what's next? Do I have to squat? Do I have to leg press? Do I hack squat? It doesn't fucking matter. We want 2 presses, and then we need something hard. Like that, I just gave everyone your leg workout. Mm-hmm. And what I do. If you come to town, it's the same fucking shit. Like, it's not complicated. If you make it really simple, because I don't have to make it complicated, because I know when I give you something, you're going to do it to the max of your ability. the reason John had to program all that stuff so precise is because he knew not everyone's going to work as hard as you do. That's the secret. And I wish he was alive to tell people that. Because when I went to train with him, we did pretty much the same shit every time. It was just hard. Like, what was it like training with John? Hard. What do you mean? It was fucking hard. We had a rough outline. He punished us until one of us tapped. Or he was like, that's enough. It was just hard. But that's not sexy to write into a training program, right? And I knew exactly when I trained with him what we are going to do. It was leg curl, a squat pattern, leg press or hack squat, and then something hard. And then we finished our RDL. Okay. Done. Like, that was our leg day. It was 4 to 5 exercises done to the brink of death. Okay. That's how his legs were fucking massive and freaky. Like, okay, that's what I learned from him, that I think when everyone does his programs, they can't comprehend. The programs were written because he knew people didn't have the ability to take sets to the end. And the ones that could grew like weeds off of his programs no matter what, because those people train hard and eat their meals. That's the secret to mountain dog training. I just showed people behind the curtain. I hope it doesn't make anyone cry. Because listen, he knew as well as you and I do, if he wrote a 12-week program where those exercises never changed, you know how many people would just tap out and not come back for the next one?
Oh, I know.
A lot. So that's why he would be like, oh, for a chest workout, we're always going to leave incline barbell second because he believed in it. But we're going to rotate the angle of the first dumbbell press, or we're going to alternate between it with a machine press. At the end of the day, he knew that if someone took those sets to the end, they're going to grow off of it, but they're still going to get that meat and potatoes barbell press second in rotation. Like, all of this to me goes back to, again, what the topic of this podcast is why you have been fucking successful. And it's because you just take everything I give you and apply it to the best of your ability. There's no magic, man. I wish there was. As I said to you before, if there was a secret to putting 80 pounds of lean muscle on you, I would give it to everyone and my rates would be times 10. I'd have a roster of 400 fucking dudes who were fucking freaks, and I'd be one of the best coaches out there. But I can't bottle what you have in here and in here. If I could, I would sell the fuck out of it. And so would you.
Yeah.
And we'd be hanging out with Jeff Bezos and shit, driving Lambos and on yachts.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I think we've adequately covered this. Like,
yeah,
you speak to the camera right now and just lay it all out there, like in your words, not mine, of why this dynamic between you and I have worked so well.
Well, it really has. It's really, honestly, you know what is working, you pay attention, and you tell me what I can do better, and I apply that, right? It's never been a concept, like, I don't think, I've probably missed 100 meals in the last 7 years, maybe. If that's being pretty generous.
Agreed.
And it's never been a concept of, am I fucking around? Because I've always just been, I want this. It's not what Chris wants this more than I do. I want this more than Chris does. And Chris also wants it really badly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's why he's great at this. It's because he cares a ton. But so many people don't, they lose that spark inside them. And you can only, the best fire is going to be one that's burning yourself, what someone didn't like for you. Right? So when you have passion for it, which I do, and you're next to someone who has a ton of passion for it, like Chris, and you work together, you basically, I handed him over and be like, okay, cool. Tell me what to do, and I will do it to the best of my ability, and I will give you feedback.
Yep.
And that's what we've done since day one. Like, I didn't expect anything more than just being like, all right, cool, let's see, what can I do better? And that's, I think too many people get off on that because they'll be like, they'll ask their friends, they'll be like, ooh, could I be doing this better? They won't ask their coach. They're gonna ask every single buddy else, but they're paying this guy, and they're go off on tangents. They're like, and they like, I'm a prime example of someone who would overthink. And that's why I have a coach. So I don't have to fucking think. You know, I just have to do what I'm told. But so many people are going to go and they're just going to be like, well, why did you tell me to eat rice instead of potatoes here? It's like, Jesus, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you know, like just eat it. But in reality, it's just a matter of doing my best to execute in the ways what I've been given. Like, if the program says train hard, you're gonna do it because you don't have to. That's like the best part about all of this. Like, I could wake up tomorrow and be like, ah, man, I don't feel like eating. I can't tell you how many times I've woken up and been like, man, I do not feel like eating today.
Right.
It's not, I don't give myself the option. It's like I could definitely miss meals. It'd be really fucking easy to. You know how easy it'd be to be like, hey, take my girlfriend out to dinner tonight and just fuck around for the last, I've eaten my 3 meals so far. I could just not have the rest of the other three and just dick around the day because I feel like it. That's not even an option in my opinion. Like, it's like, cool, I've got these meals, this is gonna happen. And that's the end of it.
I think you also touched on the thing there that's huge, right? The fact that when I give you a plan, you know in your heart, it's what I believe will work the best. And then you apply it. And on the flip side of that, if something isn't going the right way, you tell me and I don't get offended by it. Chris, this cream of rice isn't sitting well with me post lift. Can we do something else? Can we do rice instead? Fuck yeah, we can. I'm going to adjust it on your meal plan, send it over, done. On the flip side of that, I'm going to say, hey, like, I want to try this technique because I think this is going to work for your back, even though this is what we've been doing. Even though in your mind, you be like, man, like, this is working. Why does he want to try this? You don't question that shit. On the flip side of that, even if you may look in the mirror in a prep and we're at 6 weeks out and you're like, fuck, I'm a touch behind. You don't sit around and stress about it and send me 47 emails saying, am I going to be in shape? You send me your fucking update and I say, all right, I want you to write this shit out. Trust me, you'll be in shape. Okay, got it. Okay. That's difficult for a lot of people because they want to micromanage or they want to send their photos to their buddies and be like, is Chris wrong? Am I behind? Am I early? Like, but they don't know where I'm going. I've already thought about 17 different scenarios. I've already pre-planned them in my brain of what happens if this happens and what happens if this happens. Because I don't always do a great job of articulating like where I see things progressing and knowing that I always keep cards up my sleeve for you. Always.
Yeah.
So that way, if you were, let's say in 4 weeks you got behind. Well, guess what? You're on fucking 400 grams of carbs and you're doing 20 minutes of cardio. Awesome. I can cut those carbs in half and double your cardio, and a fat loss response is gonna fucking happen and quick.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that. I
Yeah.
know if your body hits a stall point, okay, cool. We're gonna add some clen now. Awesome. We're gonna take some T3 and put it in the plan. Oh, great. We're gonna up your growth hormone. Perfect. All easy fucking adjustments. But I know, again, because I'm obsessing about when you send your photos of always keeping you on track. And I have an idea of where you're going to be, where you need to be to hit those check marks to get you in shape at the end. I watch your body parts that go flat. I watch your body parts that hold fat. And I track those like a fucking hawk. If your arms start going flat, guess what? We're going to refeed those motherfuckers. Awesome. They're back to full. Cool. Let's step on the gas, push conditioning, up cardio a touch, add in some post-lift hit. Cool. We're now back to ahead of schedule. But your arms are on the flatter side. Let's go 2 back-to-back load days. Awesome. And you just keep progressing. Right? Like, and in the day, you're like, then we look in the mirror 1 week out, and you're like, I'm ready. Yep. Yeah. I know where you need to be. I just have to work that shit backwards in my brain, and that doesn't always compute to everyone else. Like, I wish that I could sometimes explain to people things that I see a little bit better because I'm not good at articulating them, or not yet at least. Because as I said to you plenty of times, this shit is an art that we do.
Yeah.
It just is. And there's metrics that I can't explain when I see your photos that I just know what to do at this point of knowing your body.
Yeah.
In person, I can fuck with your body so much more efficiently. And why you peaked so perfectly was because I saw it in person live, meal by meal, training session by training session, and we planned and dictated accordingly.
Yeah. Well, it's a simple fact, but like I trust you.
Yes.
Yep. And when I signed up with you 7 years ago, I had zero idea who you were, but I knew who John Meadows was, and I was like, anybody who's working for him isn't going to be a dumbass.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like I think that gets lost in so many things because nowadays everybody's an expert because they, well, no one reads anymore, but they saw it on YouTube, So they're like, all right, cool. I need to stay awake during my heart surgery just to make sure the doctor's doing the right thing. It's like, motherfucker, you don't have a clue, Like, I've got a pretty good idea now what's going on, but at the same time, I'm letting you do the work because that's what you're there for. You know what I mean? It's not my job to freak out if I'm, it's my job to correct it, what you tell me to do, right? And listen to the plan.
Right.
But if I'm 3 weeks out and I'm holding water and you're like, what's going on? Right? We can figure that out. I don't have to be like, oh shit, maybe I should pop it. I should start taking this. I should up my salt or just do this. It's like, no, just do what Chris says. It's just a matter of trust. Because so many people these days, they're like, oh, my coach told me to do this. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I get asked that so often. And it's like, cool, I have zero idea what the last 6 weeks have looked like.
Right.
Like, I've had people come to me and they're like, I've been running these fucking drugs for this long. Why don't I look like this? And I was like, I have zero idea what you've been eating. What have you been training?
Right.
Like that means jack shit.
Right.
Like, legitimately, that's just like that's basically like going to your mechanic and being like, hey, I've been putting 5W30 in my car. Why is my transmission bad?
Right.
I have no fucking idea. Neither does he. Right? He just knows it's bad.
Right.
He hasn't been driving your fucking car. He doesn't know what you've just been flooring it. And just all that shit. Knows none of the variables versus the person driving it. They know what's going on.
You touched on a good point there, right? And I'll just tell this, and I don't talk about this a lot, right? If people knew the screening process I had to go through to get elevated to be John's lead coach, most of would have quit well before I ever achieved this.
Mm-hmm.
Step one is before I ever worked a day for him, I had 3 competitors demolish his competitors on stage who he thought was going to win. Again, something I don't talk about, but it's the fucking truth. Okay? So right there, he knew, like, okay, he's not a dumb shit. He knows how to get people in shape. Awesome. Is he good with client care? Well, I had to do an internship for 3 months where he gave me 5 clients and he said, show me what you can do. He was CC'd on every fucking email back and forth. Every week, every day. And then he's like, oh man, you really handled that yourself well. Like, you know how to handle people online. Yes. Would you like to work for me? Yes. Cool. The next year, he slowly built my clientele and I built my based on client referrals. And then it took 3 more years before I got elevated to his lead coach spot. And that was only after I'd proven myself because I hadn't taken a single day off in those 4 years that I worked for him to start. And fast forward, the first 7 I worked for him, I didn't take 1 day off. Not a vacation, not Christmas, nothing. If Angela and I went on vacation, I took the computer with me and I fucking worked. Now, it was before she woke up, but 0 days off. And that's because I didn't want there to be one fucking person that he could look and be like, you know what? I can replace him with someone else. No, fuck you. There may be smarter people out there, but no one is going to work as hard as I can for you. Period. 0. There's no one because it's physically fucking impossible. And I always pride myself on that. Like, so for example, when he sent me you, I literally gave you my best service because I knew that in the back of my mind, what can this person be if I give them everything? And then you're a proven case of what happens if you stick around long enough.
Yep. On the flip side of that, as a coach, right, what you just said, it goes the same way for the client, right? How many times have I sent you a check-in after 8 p.m.?
Maybe 6. Maybe 6.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And a lot of those were you were like, hey, I'm going to do this. My check-in's going to come later than normal. Got it.
Right. I'm not fucking around either. That's the thing. Like, so many, like, I don't understand it, right? You get people who want to be this, and that. They want to do, they have these goals, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty details of it, they fall through. Like, they basically are mosquitoes going through a chain link fence. That they don't give a rat's ass. They expect this they expect that from their coach, and they don't have any expectations for themselves, right? I don't think, like, I've never missed a check-in,
No, you have not.
and I've been fucking sick. I've torn my adductor. I've had injuries. I've had all sorts of shit happen. I've had funerals. I've had breakups. I've had girlfriends. I've had, name it, right? It wasn't worth me fucking not missing a check-in, right? And that should speak volumes on why my progress is the way it is. Like, if my check-in is that important, how important do you think my fucking training is?
Right. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's easier for you to get things, all the ducks in the line, if I bring them to you. You don't have to find the fucking ducks. You know what I mean? You're not searching, you're not asking me for, like, I'm giving you the feedback. You don't have to. How often do you have to ask me things that I like? Have you ever had to ask me on, like, meal compliance, or, you know what I mean? It just isn't a thing. It's because I also give a shit.
Yep.
It's not just a matter, you can't just sign up with someone and expect them to do the work for you.
Here's how
Right.
your meal compliance goes to me. Had a free meal of this, and this, or had no free meals 42 out of 42. But that's how your compliance goes. It's literally that simple. And honestly, I don't even feel like I need to read that most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I just know. Listen, I do read it, but I don't need to read it. Because I don't know if I've ever explained this to you or anyone. Like, always do this. Always, and when I open your update, I scroll down and look at the photos first, because I don't want anything in the update to fuck with this.
Yeah.
I know what you look like on Wednesday, and when I open Sunday, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, these are your photos. Now, after I look at those photos, I take some mental notes. This, and this. Okay, cool, got it. Now I'll go up and read your shit. And then if anything that I see, a lot of times you've already picked out and told me about. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. Okay, good. This is fuller. Oh, you just trained legs yesterday. Of course, your legs are full blown. Got it. Okay. And then that matches with what I see in the notes and data that I've gathered from last week and the week before, like, and builds off of each other. And that feedback in response is how I'm able to modify that plan, knowing at the end, like, what our next goal is as USAs, right? Because I'm always thinking about that, but then we have short-term goals we have to accomplish before we get to this pinnacle, so to speak, of this year. So there's a lot of check marks we have to hit before we hit this big one, but at the end of the day, I have to be a slave to that. But as I've said and you said, eating your meals and training hard are already checks. From here to here, meaning USA's is here, all this in between, I already know, unless an injury happens or you start violently throwing up, those are already checked. Those are checked off of my brain. No matter what I do, no matter what I give you, I don't question that. If I said, we're going to do 100 sets of squat today, you're okay, cool. What bar you want me to use? Do I need to bring wedges? Do I need a belt? Okay, cool. Those are your questions.
Right. Yeah, can you not? Like, I've joked, I think I've joked around with you about this. Like, if you told me I needed to snort bat shit to progress, I'd probably ask you what kind of bats you wanted.
Right. Yep. Yep. When I used to train people in person, I always would, whenever I spoke about this in a topic, because a lot of times our gym would hold like these ask the trainer, and people say, oh, like, Chris, like, why are your clients so successful, right? I'm like, well, first of all, they all aren't, because I would just put that baby to bed, because it's not true. And anyone who's a coach, unless you're literally only working with the top 1%, like Hani, for example, like of course all his clients are successful. Like he's working with the upper echelon of Olympians. Like, yeah. If you're a normal coach, you're going to have clients that are unsuccessful based upon their lack of compliance, right? But the ones who are successful, I always would joke and say this, like, if I told them to literally walk backwards up a mountain and piss their pants halfway through because it's going to burn fat more optimally, they would ask me what to drink the night before. And that's it. And I know that's a weird analogy to say to people, but it's true. Like, if John said, Chris, I need you to squat in a pink shirt, well, does it need to be a cutoff or a long? Can it be a long sleeve? Because I want to wear long sleeves. Can it be a hoodie? Okay. Can it be under a hoodie? Those are the questions I'm asking. I'm not asking like why. Like I'm not, and I think that's really difficult, right? Because there's a fine line. Because you've asked me questions, intelligent questions, like, "Hey, what's your thought process behind this?" Because you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also some like dumb meathead involved where you're like, just fucking execute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Chris, what's the difference between 2 mLs and 3 mLs of fucking injectable L-carnitine? I don't know. Let's see what 3 does. Okay, cool.
Right.
I think I may have told the story a few times. Like John and I were trying to find like the upper limit of injectable L-carnitine, and that's the reason I gave that example. He's like, "Can you shoot 5 a day?" Fuck, I'll do it. Yeah. All right, awesome. It was awful. Guess what we learned? It didn't do jack shit. I didn't sit there and question him and say, "Oh, your integrity as a coach is garbage because you can't explain the science behind wanting me to do 5." No, he said, "Try 5." I said, "Fuck it, let's do it." Okay,
Yeah.
cool. No harm, no foul. What we learned, we don't need 5.
No.
Ugh. Any final thoughts?
Now that pretty much sums that
I think that was 90 fucking minutes of just us raging back and forth.
up. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so if anybody wants to know what it's like riding in a car with us or a plane ride, like this is it. Also, we just laugh at these questions because, again, as we've said repeatedly, like I give him nothing special. It's just it comes down to his heart, his brain, and his compliance, and him actively choosing to believe in what I give him, and then me believing in his ability as a bodybuilder to execute the plan that I give him. When you marry those two things, no matter what your genetics are, cool shit happens. Like
Yeah.
it does. I've had plenty of examples of this with him, with others. His is just the most evident because he's done it for so damn long. And a lot of times the people have been around him and in his life, like remember what it's like when he was 130, 150, 170, 200, 230, right? And it's really fresh because Instagram gives us these cool memories or Facebook gives us cool memories. And we're like, oh shit, this is what you used to look like. But then you meet people now who I think are coming into this and learning about you and what you do, and they're like, they just think you've always been big. And that's not the case. And the funny thing is, like, I think that's what I want to close this with, is that's why another reason you and I have been successful is neither of us are satisfied with where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of coaches I feel like who would be really proud of your progress, and I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what's left. I know what's to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't lose sight of that. Like,
Yeah.
and another cool thing I think about you is you don't require a lot of cheerleading. Like, I'll tell you when you get a win, but for the most part, it's just like, I need you to execute this, this, this. Cool. Your back looks bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your left lat's fucked up. Good massage. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and like give you a donut and shit. Like, I know what your long-term goals are and where we need to be. I know where you can be. And I have to remind myself, no matter how cool it's been that you've put on this much muscle, I know how much is left.
Yeah.
To go before you and I are probably remotely satisfied.
Mm-hmm. I remember when we broke 200 pounds. This was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, cool, we'll hit 230.
Yep. 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 200's like in my mind, in my thought, like, man, cool, 200 is cool. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. Check. What's next? 225, 230 with abs. Glutes
Yeah.
still straight off.
Yeah, exactly.
we're there now. All right, now cool. What if we do this at 250 or 260?
Mm-hmm.
And you just it's always scaling. It's like, yes, cool, fuck yeah, we knocked that off the list. But we're not gonna like be complacent and celebrate that shit and let
Yeah.
the gas. Where I think that's a lot of people do it is like, oh man, like I won this overall, great. Ooh, I turned pro, great. Ooh, I won a pro show, great. No, fuck off. Like,
Yeah. Oh, I want a pro show. Cool. I'm not gonna diet for 3 months.
yeah, fuck off.
Like
If you
what?
win a pro show, it's this is where you and I go. What do we have to do to be on the Olympia stage?
Yeah.
It's happening. Like it's instant like game plan. I don't care how long you've
Yeah.
been fucking dieting. You qualify for Olympia, you're fucking doing it, and we're gonna figure out how to get you there the safest way possible.
Yeah.
Right? Where
No,
so
100%.
I mean, oh, like all that shit I think just gets under my skin because it's like everyone wants your progress, but they don't understand like the relentlessness that I push you at and you hold yourself accountable to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking Groundhog Day over and over and over again until we get where you want to be. And the funny thing is, we don't know if you'll ever achieve it.
Yeah, that's facts.
It
Well,
may
we sure as hell like we've gone after it like we would anyways. When
correct.
I mean my first competition, I weighed 138 pounds. I honestly, if I compete in supers, if I competed in supers at any point in time, I would have competed in every single bodybuilding weight class.
Yep.
Every single one of them. There's like, I would like to see how many people are in that list.
It's short. It's really
Yeah.
short. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in shape super. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, again, people don't comprehend that. It's just been slow and fucking steady. And I wouldn't say slow. It's just been steady.
Yeah.
It's just been steady. And there's been no miraculous jumps. It's just up.
Mm-hmm.
That's because you do your job, I do my job, and we fucking rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always just assessing and apply, assess, apply, assess, apply. And due to my obsessive nature and yours, when you marry that shit and it works in harmony, good shit happens. And I don't need some fucking fancy science experiment to tell me why. I'm looking at it. I've literally
Yep.
been playing scientist. And then you're just a test dummy.
Yeah. 100%.
I think I've said this to you before, right? Like, I'm just too fucking stupid to quit. And I think you're just so stupid not to follow the plan.
Yeah.
And that's not a cut down. Like,
No.
because I don't believe you're unintelligent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's pretty funny. It's one of those things. It's just like when they say stupid meathead, it's like, well, it's pretty accurate because, like, in reality, like the ones who make the least amount of like random ass changes because they feel like it are the ones who make the best progress,
Yeah.
right? It comes down to like you see someone who's 230 pounds plus in the gym and it's vascular, is not fat. They've probably been eating meat and rice for multiple years
Oh, yeah.
and training their dick off. There, it wasn't something fancy. They didn't follow some Renaissance periodization program and snack on Skittles while they were training for their intro carbs. They didn't do anything cool like that. They sat down, they ate shit they didn't want to always eat. They made that part of their life, eating meat and rice multiple times a day for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. This wasn't a 12-week transformation. It wasn't a New Year's result. It wasn't just a simple progress picture taken. It was a mixture of working in the general direction we wanted to go for years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's that basic. And it's like, cool, like you think I'm getting something special because I have this progress. It's like, and yet you don't like, it's like skipping over the steps. Like, how many times a week, 42 out of 42 have you done that? Right. And then have you done that for 56 weeks?
Correct. Yep.
And then have you done that for another 56 weeks?
Yep.
And then 5 more 56 weeks. You know, like it's like, oh, that kind of makes sense now. You know, it'd be a really fucking different story if I was still 138 pounds.
Yes.
At that point, it would have been like, all right, cool, something's fucking broken here. You know what I mean?
Right. You know, I had a cool moment last night. So we're in the process of getting like Daxton out of our bed. So
Mhm.
Angela put him in his room. She laid to bed with him until he went to sleep. I'm sitting there on the phone in our bed, like working, watching a old football game, and like I'm in and out of sleep, like just falling out of sleep, and then I'll wake up, send a couple messages, and then back to watching TV. So it's like 9:35, and she comes in the bedroom, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what time is it?" And she's like 9:30, and I thought to myself in that singular moment, how many people it would have been so easy with her coming to bed and it's us having a free bed alone would have just sat in there and went to sleep because I was tired.
Mhm.
Or I could have went down the fucking kitchen and made my 9 ounces of turkey, 200 grams of rice, 51 grams of bowl of gains with avocado oil. Eat it and then come back to bed. Like, how many people could have done that? And as I said to you at the beginning, like when you do that once, it becomes easier the next time. And
Oh
then
yeah.
and then suddenly you're rationalizing 5 meals a day. Well, I'm still strong. I'm still full. Yeah, but are you progressing? Like, and I mean, I think I'm sure you've experienced so many of those similar moments, right? Like maybe you're laying in bed, and you don't feel like getting up, eating meal one, but you're sitting there hungry as fuck, and you're like, man, like how many people like just go back to sleep? Or I'm
Mhm.
gonna get my ass out of this bed, brush my teeth, take a piss, and go eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's to me, it's always been like the choices are around us, and it's only between me and me who knows if I ate all my meals or not.
Mhm.
Because listen, you could eat 40 out of 42 and report 42. Eventually I might catch on, but I may not. Like
Yeah.
because 42 out of 40 out of 42 is close to
Mhm.
where I could just justify like, oh, maybe your grow rate's just not as fast as I anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The the guy inside my head, the guy running this meat suit I'm in, would not be a fan of that.
no, no,
I wouldn't be able. That's the thing with me is like I that would eat me alive
yeah,
trying to justify or just skipping and like lying about it.
yes,
Like in all reality, like it'd be like, what's the point on that? Like I've got zero reason. Like, cool, if I fuck up, I've fallen asleep before meal 6 before.
yeah,
Like I've legitimately eaten my post workout meal on the couch and woken up the next day to my alarm going off. It was just like, fuck, okay, cool. Like that meal's gone. Like, it's happened. You
right,
know, wake up, make breakfast, realize, all right, cool, missed the meal there. But it's not, there's so many times like waking up and be like, all right, do I really want to do cardio this morning? It's fucking cold in the garage.
right,
It's like, good. Like, like it's like one of those things. It's like we don't realize how lucky we are to be able to do these things until like you don't have that option,
right, yeah,
you know? And it's just like, what, we're gonna be bodybuilding until maybe 50.
right,
And then at that point, I really just don't want to look back and be like, oh man, imagine if I actually did my cardio in the morning, or imagine if I did eat that meal 6. It's like I'm not gonna. I honestly, I had looking back, I'm gonna be like, yep, I fucking did that. You know?
yeah. And you'll be at peace with it.
Yeah.
Like win, lose, or draw, no matter where the cards take you, you'll be like, listen, I did everything in my power to the best of my ability, and that's where my destiny led me for whatever fucking reason.
Hmm.
And a lot of times when I think people just don't embrace that thought process and mindset because, like as you said, like I'm sure there's been times where you've woken up in the middle of the night and like, oh fuck me, like I didn't eat my last meal, or you ate it and forgot about it. And you're like, oh fuck, did I eat that? Like I'll rush down to the kitchen, like, oh thank God I left my plate on the table. I ate it. Yes. But the amount of times I fucking went downstairs at 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing I had to get up at 6, blended a meal, woke up Angela, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'm gonna hit this meal and come back to bed. And it's whey, oats, and peanut butter or almond butter. I don't give a
Hmm.
fuck. It's getting in my mouth, and I'm gonna come back to sleep. I'm gonna start the day fresh. I'm not gonna miss that meal. Was it perfect? No, but it's better than zero.
Yep.
I cannot post a goose egg, meaning a loss or an X, however I look at that. Because to me, it's like you either nailed all your meals or you didn't. There's no out of this like, oh, 90% bullshit. For me, it's 100 or zero. That's the way I've always looked at it. And maybe it's because I operate my life as blast or dust. Like it's 100 or nothing. When I do a work set, it's 100 or fucking nothing. Like I'm not going to train or I'm going to go to the end. It's as simple as that. I don't know any different. I don't know how to operate any different. I coach you. It's 100% of my fucking effort or I'm not coaching you. And there's never been one day where I haven't responded to your email.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah. Sundays, Wednesdays. Every time. If you have an update during a prep and it's every fucking day, 3 times a day, all right, cool. That's what we're going to do. Because I believe in my heart that'll make you the best. And that's all I care about. As I do with everyone else.
Exactly.
It's nothing fucking special. But I will say this. Like, so I will give people some credit here. Maybe they're right a little bit. I reciprocate the energy you give me. Because that's how we work as humans. And as you said, you want this a whole lot, a whole fucking lot. And honestly, I expect you to want this more than I do.
Yeah.
I know how much I want it for you. And I know yours is a little bit, yours a next tier. Because it's you. It means something to you personally, as it does for me. It's going to be a fucking cool moment when you turn pro.
Yeah.
It's going to mean a lot to me because to me, I started with you from the ground fucking zero. But no matter how much it means to me, it will mean a little bit more to you because it's you're personal. I wrote the plan, but you had to do all that hard shit in the middle of day one to day now.
Yeah.
And as much as I can say I've been along this with you, and I have, you had to do that fucking cardio. You had to get your ass out of bed. You had to eat those meals. You had to measure those meals. You had to sacrifice family time or work obligations or fill in the blank. But you've always given me the energy and the effort that I expect. So you get my best.
Yeah.
And
everybody should understand this concept. Like if you're having a conversation with someone and you stop caring about the conversation, the other person's going to stop talking to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like go give it a try. Walk up, like go to the fucking grocery store and talk to the teller and then stop talking. Yep. They're going to look at you like you're a fucking dumbass.
Right.
You know, they're not going to help you.
Right.
They expect you to help as well. It's how that works. You know, they can't read your mind.
Right.
They sure shit don't know what you want unless you tell them.
Right.
You know, and it's just that. You know, like if you don't put forth effort, you're not going to get effort back. It's how that always works. Like there's no, I can't think of a scenario of a coach who's going to like take an athlete and the athlete fucks around and they're not gonna say anything, or they're gonna change the plan. And it's like one of those things. It's like they shouldn't. Right? If you sent me a plan and I sent back 70% compliance, there's 30% there. What could be fucking done better? Yep. Like, are we gonna keep changing that 70%? Right? Or like, there's times like, yeah, maybe we should make this easier. That doesn't mean the plan's getting better. You know what I mean? We're just backtracking a little bit. It's like, oh, you can't do it's impossible if you do that. All right, let's change that. You know, but if it's always like someone gives half-ass effort, even if that coach is going to try their best to a point, but what else can they do? You're not training for me. You're not doing my cardio for me. Right. You're not eating my meals. You know what I mean? Like, there's all those things there. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do because you told me what to do, but that's the end of that story. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's where the athlete picks up. It's just, if you're playing football and you gave me a play, it's my job to play it.
Correct.
You know, we've gone over this before. Like, if you said, you know, we're going for a passing play and I decide to fucking run it, you're probably not going to have me play that again.
No, absolutely not.
Like, I'm probably going to get benched. Yeah, you're like, the fuck out of here, Dave. You know, like
You know, I had a conversation with a client, I don't know, probably a month ago. His email read this: compliance 50%. Then in the notes, we really have to change this plan. I'm completely burnt out on it. My response, and this is verbatim: if you're only following 50%, how you burn out on it? I don't understand. Please explain to me how you're burnt out on a plan you're not following. He never responded again.
yeah,
And that sucks, right? Like,
yeah,
again, that's another coaching truth that no one wants to talk about. Like, because I held his ass to the fire and said, explain to me, like, give me the premise, what's going on? And it was more, I had a lot more email after that, but that was the premise. How in the fuck are you tired of a plan you aren't following? Because it's not
yep,
true. You can't be tired of eating chicken and rice if every day you don't follow it.
yeah,
You're not tired of it. You're tired of being on a plan is the problem. And you're tired of me holding you accountable to said plan.
yeah. You know, and that's like I mean, we do live in a world where people want yes men.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think I've always enjoyed with working with you is you're not a yes man. You know what I mean? And well, neither am I. I've never been that way inherently.
Right.
You know, so that's why we've clicked really well because of that. But you're not going to be like, if I said, like, if I did that same scenario, you're not going to be like, oh, cool, let's change this. So you're not going to hold my hand and sing kumbaya so I stay with you, right? I think that's your coaching superpowers. You don't really give a fuck if you lose a client,
No.
you know, because yes, it's never going to be 100% just, yes, things are going to work for the client, but that's not, and things are, you make custom plans. Things are there for, you know, based off the information I gave you, you build a plan for me.
Yep.
You didn't send me some pizza cutter program and be like, follow this. You
Right.
know, I sent you details of my life. You sent me back a plan that follows those details.
Correct.
And then we apply it. It wasn't just like, oh man, I'm eating a lot of food. You're like, oh man, I'm sorry. Let's pull back food a little bit. Like, what the fuck do you expect is gonna happen?
Right.
You're like, if my goal is to stay the fuck, honestly, if we had the identical me and someone else coaching me who was a yes man, I bet you I would still be 138 pounds.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know, that's the thing. Like, comfort has nothing to do with bodybuilding. I don't think I've been comfortable other than like the 2 weeks post show where food feels fantastic and training is just, you get a pump fucking answering the phone, you know?
Right.
But like, other than that, like, yeah, you got food you got to eat. You may not be hungry, or you're going to be fucking hungry, or you're going to be sore from training. Like, honest to God, like, I've been sore from training for the last 7 years.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And I know you have been too,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like, something is always fucking sore, you know, and that's why we have so many recovery things in play. That's why I got to get body work done. That's why I have to manage. Like, that's why we have rest days. But you know, after a week off, yeah, I feel pretty fucking dandy. But like, we're not doing a week off every fucking week, you know? And that's the thing. Like, what just happened?
I don't know. I'm so good.
Oh, cool. But
You were
the
fucking
comfort
rolling.
has absolutely nothing to do with this sport.
Right.
And I think we both very much understand that. And that's the biggest hindrance of progress is being comfortable.
You know, I think also too, so many people get inside their head, right? And they're like, oh, Chris hasn't posted a picture of me yet. He must not think I'm doing well. And my thought process has always been this, and it's gonna suck and it's gonna sound really fucking harsh, but do something fucking exceptional and I'll post it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, make a crazy transformation. Give me a set, send me a set on your fucking phone that gets me fired up to go train. If you can do that, I post that shit. Right? And I'll always go back to this. I trained under Shelby for 4 fucking years before he posted one fucking photo of me, and it was a quad shot of about this much. He cropped my fucking upper body out of it and just showed my legs because they look stupid in a good way. He literally cropped half my body out and said, this is a cool shot. I'm going to cut this and post it. I didn't cry. I didn't bitch. I didn't moan. I didn't think, oh my God, like, why isn't he posting me? My progress isn't good. I'm going to change coaches. He doesn't cheerlead me. Fuck that. He had a standard of building freaks until I
Yeah.
achieved something that he thought, oh, that's pretty freaky. I'm going to post it. And even then, only half of my one sex sliver of my body looked wild. And he said, cool, I'll post it.
Yeah. Well, that's always made me laugh. It's like I've had the same things. Like, why don't you post me? You post X, Y, or Z, and it's like, well, that's because X, Y, or Z doesn't fucking miss.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, look at their fucking progress. That's fucking insane.
Right.
Like, you want me to post this side by side of you? I was like, cool. This is Sally. This is the last 6 weeks. She's followed her plans 30%, and this is the changes she's made. Would you really appreciate that? I fucking doubt it.
No. No. Yeah. And listen, I've had to say that to somebody before, and they got fucking inside their feelings about it. My literal words were, "Do something exceptional, and I'll post it."
Yeah.
And as you said to me, I'm not scared to lose someone where our goals don't align, our personalities don't match, and our end game is the same. And because I believe in my heart that I know that I'm fucking good at this shit, and for every person I lose, I'll get replaced with. It's always been this way in my whole career. 2 to 3 people will get replaced with who our goals do align, and that's when magic happens. Because so many coaches fall in the trap of the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And I refuse to do that. And for all you guys out there who need to know that analogy, is it's the clients that always cause the most trouble, the most burden, the most like non-plan compliance, require of them a lot of work to get them up to speed. It's really easy for me to like blow Dave off because he follows this shit, and they spend all their time with the clients who are in the fucking gutter, and they spend a fraction of the time with people who are kicking ass. And I've always looked at the opposite and thought, fuck you. Like, you want to give me little effort? I'm going to reciprocate that. The people who bust their ass, I'm going to dump attention, time, and dedication to and nurture that. Because in my mind, even when you were small, I knew your desire to get better was high. So if I reciprocate that to you, you're like, man, he really values and cares about my shit, my progress. Fuck yeah, I do. And then next thing you know, you're not so little anymore. And now you're fucking big. And then now we're looking at chasing the fucking pro card. Where a lot of coaches are like, oh man, the people who are rock solid, they don't require a lot of effort. Cool. On to the next week. Those people that give them a lot of trouble require a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's always like rewrite my plan, problem solving. Like it's all basic shit that I said when we started with this program. Like all plan compliance and you training hard, I don't even have to question. It's not even on my fucking radar. So that's two big things I can cross off my list each week when you send me your update. I don't have to think about it. Like, again, I know it's a fucking side tangent of like what separates certain individuals, but like, I feel like you touched on a huge thing that, again, I've never been scared of. Like, John taught me square one. He was like, Chris, like, you definitely aren't scared to refund people their money. Fuck no. And I thought, I hope you aren't pissed off about that. I said, no, if our goals don't align, if our personalities don't match, here's what's going to happen. They're going to reach a crossroads and they're going to say, fuck you, Chris sucks dick. I don't want that energy on the internet. I don't need that energy in my life. Get the fuck out. Because there's plenty of people who love my shit. For as many people who fucking hate me and think I'm a prick and an asshole and, oh, he doesn't know anything, he's a dumb fucking meathead, there's an equal amount of people over here that like love what I do and how I coach and love getting like shit pushed in hard and not scared of hard work and don't need cheerleaders. There's plenty of coaches out there who will cheerlead you till they're fucking blue in the face. You'll hire them. That's not me. It never will be me. Yeah. You want to have me pat you on the back, give you a hug, pick you off the fucking ground? Do something exceptional. Do something that makes me get cold chills. Do something in the gym that makes me want to go rip weight in the fucking gym. And listen, I've had little fucking scrawny ass motherfuckers send me shit where I'm like, man, they just went hard. That was you. You've sent me shit in the gym. And I'm like, man, he got after it. Meanwhile, I might have outweighed you by 50 pounds. Doesn't matter. It was fucking cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the end. That fires me up. I don't care what you look like, male, female, somewhere in the middle. I don't give a fuck. Like, do cool shit. All right, I think we've ranted and raved enough. At the end of the day, I give him nothing special. Why him and I get along so well? I don't fucking know. Maybe because we're a lot alike.
Yeah.
That dynamic also took years to develop.
Yeah.
It wasn't that way from day one. It wasn't. He had to prove himself to me. And I had to prove myself to him that I gave a fuck, I cared, and I invested my time in him. So like, that's the takeaway, right? It's a give and take. It works both ways. The only reason he grows is because he works his ass off. The only reason he works his ass off is I give him a plan to follow that he has direction. That's the answer. Until next time, we're out.